Aho, kitipilo hele, yesipi yayani, lasawanwa.
Hello, and welcome to Among the Shawnee, a podcast for Absentee Shawnee tribal members. I'm your host, Mindy Longhorn, Media Director for the Absentee Shawnee Tribe. Hello, everyone. On today's episode, we're talking about something that everyone needs, and that's housing. And we are going to talk with some of the staff from the Absentee Shawnee Housing Authority, and we're going to hear some of the programs that they offer and some of the services that they provide. We've got Executive Director Sherry Drywater here. Welcome to the show. We've also got Karen Fullbright, Admissions Intake Specialist.
Yes.
And last but not least, we have Kimberly Vermillion, the Resident Education Specialist.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
I think this is important information that everyone needs to hear. There are probably some programs maybe they weren't aware of. Hopefully we can educate some tribal members. Sure. So I really wanted to start with your mission statement, which I got from, I think it was on your website probably. Mm-hmm. Yes. You serve low-income Native American families, but ASTs get preference.
Correct.
For any assistance that you offer.
Right.
So we want to make that clear. I feel like right from the bat.
That is important.
That's why I wanted to start with that. And then if someone didn't know, what jurisdictions do you serve? I feel like that's a good place to start.
We have 4 counties that we serve, and that's Potawatomi, Lincoln, Oklahoma, and Cleveland. Which one did I miss? Cleveland County.
Okay.
Don't forget Cleveland County.
So those are all kind of right here. This is your service
so that's
area.
The main areas we serve. That is according to our Indian Housing Plan, the funds we get through HUD. Some programs we do venture out and do the state of Oklahoma, and it's really just dependent on the funds that we use.
Right. So it's not just you're just being picky, but it's
exactly.
funding related.
Yes.
You're
correct.
following the guidelines,
yes.
which we have to do.
Yes.
So, okay. So now that we know the counties that you serve, I wanted to start with the program that I kind of feel like most people probably use would be the rental program.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of people do that. Let's start with the low rent program.
Okay.
Who wants to start off with that one?
Well, I mean, I know generally everybody knows it's primarily for low-income families.
Right.
It is waiting list based, so you're primarily served once you get on the waiting list, you're approved, and as soon as a home comes available, we're able to offer it to you. So I know Kim and Karen can kind of share a little bit if they want to talk about the screening process, and then Kim can kind of go into some of the counseling and kind of how that all works. So that works.
I receive the housing applications when they come in. You can apply online. Mm-hmm. You can come in and fill an application out. I know we have some elders that are really not computer.
Right. They're not tech savvy.
To go in and update documents and stuff.
Upload, right. So they can do that in person.
Right.
Yes. And we can make copies once they come in and fill out the application. We can make their copies so they don't have to worry about that. We have some that come in and apply, and all they have is SSI or Social Security, which is fine. Mm-hmm. I mean, it'll meet the minimum income requirements that's needed. I think some feel like they won't qualify if they just get that. And we do verify income. We do a credit and background check. Verify their income. We get a landlord reference for the last 2 years for rental, 5 years for lease with option, which is a low income lease with option program. And that's the same application, the rental and that. Personal references, income, we verify with employer. I do a home visit after that's completed and just verify, check their situation out. And then they're put on the waiting list.
Is it a long waiting list, or does that depend on how many units you have?
Yeah, it really depends right now as far as family size, because all of our waiting lists are based off the family size. So I believe the most popular one right now is the 2-bedroom. That one stays the most needed because usually it's a couple or maybe a single and a child with them. So they typically 2 bedrooms. Mm-hmm.
2 bedroom.
2 and 3 is probably another one that's a pretty popular one. So and I know these guys do a really good job at walking them through. I know they're always available by phone, email. Anytime people have questions, I know they're really helpful on the program side. So
you mentioned it's income based, like low
Correct.
income, but then you also run credit. So what if they meet the income guidelines, but maybe their credit's not that great?
So our credit screening is a little bit not like a typical bank or
Right.
lender
Right.
kind of thing. We're only looking at their past landlords, like if there's any kind of say they stayed at a apartment complex or anything like that, and they left and they breached their lease.
Okay, like an eviction or
Right,
just something
like that. That will
Okay.
come up, and that will come on their credit. And we'll only look at utilities too. Those are the two main things
That's
that
it.
we ask
That's it.
for
Okay.
that they take care of. And usually we'll send out a letter saying you're ineligible, and we'll try to clearly explain what's caused their denial.
Okay.
That way, if they can get it corrected,
Then they could come back
yeah,
maybe and
right.
reapply.
Yeah.
And I try to notify them too and say, hey, there's a $50 OG&E bill that you have
Oh.
that you owe on your credit. Most of the time, they don't even know.
So they may have forgot.
They
Right.
may,
Sometimes
moved
they're-
out and that was a balance or something.
Right.
And they can take care of it, and we'll continue with the application. I try to work with them to get them in housing,
Right.
much as I can.
So you've got a lot of units though. I mean, you've got a lot of, you have a waiting list, but you
Right.
still have some units.
We have
though.
quite a bit.
You have quite a bit, right?
Rentals right now, I think we're in the 250, close to 275 range, somewhere around there. So we have a pretty good stock that we have to manage. So a lot of the times, what slows down is if somebody does vacate. If they're not left in the best condition, we have to get it ready for a new
The next
occupant,
one.
and so sometimes it may take some contractors coming in and doing some repairs. So, but most of the time, we try to do it as quickly as can so we can get those filled
Off the waiting list.
Right.
The other rental program is the market rate rental program.
Yes.
So that's different from the low
Right.
income. What is that one?
So the market rate program was designed to kind of serve those families that weren't in the low income level range, where we could still serve. There's families out there that may not be low income, but they still need affordable housing. And so we started creating market rate where people could come and rent, and there's no income guidelines set for them.
Okay.
I believe we do kind of still look at to see where they're at minimum wise to make sure they can afford, because those payments aren't based off their income. So when people move in, the rent's all calculated in the low income program. It's all based off their income. So when they become non-low income, it's like there's a flat
rate.
standard
Flat rate.
rent rate that we set in that market rate program. So they can't come in and let us know that, hey, I'm having a hard time this month, or I lost my job.
Right.
It stays the same,
stays the
unfortunately.
same.
So
Unfortunately, and
yeah,
everything.
but
Okay.
it is pretty popular.
Yeah.
I believe that waiting list is there too.
That's what I was gonna
People are
ask.
waiting to get into those. So
Wow. So you've got waiting lists pretty much for
right.
everything we're going to talk about.
I know a lot
probably.
of people probably see the biggest one is out there in Highway 9.
Mhm.
That's kind
A
of the
little
big,
X.
biggest.
Those are the
market rate.
duplexes, right?
The duplexes. They're 3-bedroom, 2-bath. They're pretty good size.
Mhm.
So they
Fairly
stay pretty
new.
full, and we're fixing to make a new phase of them. So I'm sure a lot of people will be bringing their applications in to get into those.
Well, they
So-
will after we talk about
Right.
it. You're really
And
going to have a little
utilities are
time.
included.
Yeah.
Utilities are included.
Really?
Right. The
And that's
rent,
market
the
rate.
utilities are included with that monthly
With the
rent.
monthly rent.
Right. So it's a good setup for.
So
for
someone's
families.
looking. You better
Yeah.
get in on
Yeah.
it now.
Right. Get
Because,
on that waiting list.
I mean, you're not building that. The next phase is not like a substantial
It's just,
number.
Yeah, we just started, so
Okay.
it'll probably be a little bit.
How many units are you adding?
I believe there's 5. Oh my gosh, sorry about that. I think there's five.
What do
I
you have now?
believe.
Like 6 or something, maybe?
There's six,
Six?
but they're both two.
Duplexes.
There's obviously
They're
duplexes,
duplexes.
so that's actually 10 more.
Okay. So you're
houses.
probably going to have a waiting
Yes,
list. So.
I know.
So all the utility. Well, that's great.
Right.
But you
right.
still have to go through the same process to
Right.
live here.
Yeah, that's why
apply.
it's important if they're wanting to get into the program to go ahead and get on that waiting list and get their application in. So,
And you probably have a list.
yeah.
And then
yes.
once they're approved for whatever program they're going into, whether it's low rent or market rate rental, they're required to do a mandatory pre-occupancy counseling. That's where they come in and visit with me.
Okay, so what does that consist of?
That consists of I go over program policy with them so they get a full understanding of what their obligations are in the program that they're going into. I go over any agreement in addition to their lease agreement that they're required to sign when they move in. I also cover budgeting, maintenance, housekeeping, and fire safety.
Now, do you do that with the low income too, or
Yes.
just
Right,
the market?
every program.
Every
Yeah,
program.
Every
Okay.
program.
Even the
So-
homeownership program.
Okay.
And I think HUD's developed those programs where they do want you to provide counseling and education before they're admitted into programs. So that's kind of where we designed a lot of those counselings around.
Okay. So again, that goes back to your funding,
Back to the
which
funding,
is why
right,
they
yeah.
have to do that. It's
Yeah.
not something you just decided.
Right,
It's
right.
funding related. So what if someone's living in market rate and maybe they lost their job, they
Mm-hmm.
get another one, and they move to the low income? Would they be put on the list for that?
Yes. If
Yes.
Okay.
say they're struggling, or sometimes they come in and they may. It depends on where they are on the lease. Sometimes they'll try to go ahead and get some more income as long as they're keeping up with that payment. I mean, they really wouldn't have to come in if they can kind of keep up until something happens.
Right.
And they probably could apply for the low rent. I mean, I don't think we've ever had a scenario like that most of the time, but it could
I
happen.
I mean, it could happen.
Yeah.
You know,
I
There's
have.
something-
You
I
have?
Yeah,
Okay.
situations have
Okay.
occurred in their household where
something happens.
Right.
something happened,
Right.
divorce or
Life.
and
Life,
Life happens.
life, exactly.
Life happens.
Life happens. Yeah.
yes, and then they say, "Can I apply for the rental?"
So then you would get on the waiting list for the
Right.
low income.
Yes.
And I think the ones that are on there for the longest time are usually the other tribes.
Okay,
Yes.
but ASTs get preference. We
are
want to
always,
top
they
of the list.
usually get a little less time to have to wait,
Right.
depending on if they're waiting on a specific area. More Norman, sometimes it takes a long time for something to come open in that one. Because
Right.
once somebody's in there,
They don't want to move.
they're not.
They're not going to leave.
You're right.
No.
But if you're
That's a
Shawnee
popular
County,
area.
yeah,
You might get something.
You might get something
Right.
pretty
Yes.
quick. So
But like you said, at AST for sure,
right.
top of the list. We want to make
Right,
sure
right.
they get
Yes.
preference. Okay, now not everyone may want to rent. Like they may want to own their own home,
right.
which is difficult. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got some programs if someone wants to actually own their own home.
Right. So let's see. Where do we start?
Well, okay. So what about home ownership mutual help home?
Okay,
Let's
so,
start there.
So lease to own is program units that we have that we've managed, and so we offer them for instead of renting, they can basically kind of like a rent to own, lease to own type
own.
program. So
Okay.
those are managed, and there's a lease agreement that they signed. Typically, they have those running for I believe it's 25 years, or if they pay off the balance
Before then?
yeah, it's kind of like a schedule, like a payoff statement that shows
Okay.
like what their balance is on the home. And so when they get those when they initially move in.
Right.
So most of the time people will kind of stick with just a standard payment because it's all income based. That's what a lot of those programs go back to. It's all based off their income because HUD doesn't allow us to charge more than 30% of their monthly adjusted income.
Okay.
So that's why it's always fluctuating.
So if your
Sometimes it can-
income went down, would your payment go down?
Yes.
So if
yes,
your
payment-
income goes up,
Right.
which would
Even
be great.
when you're on a lease to own program.
So
So,
it would
that's
still
the
go
benefit
up.
of that one.
So if you got a better
It
job,
helps. Right.
your
And
payment's
then
gonna go up.
we do set caps, so their payment doesn't go up to a crazy amount. It's usually a really decent payment.
Not something that's unaffordable.
Right,
It's
right.
very
So it's going to stay
affordable.
affordable.
That's good.
Definitely.
That's good.
So, so that's one of the main ones, and I believe that's a pretty good size wait list right now. I think there's been people on that for years.
Yes.
So
Wow.
unfortunately, it's been a challenge to get. We're working to try to get more of those, but we typically see one or two a year sometimes, and it really depends on if something comes available, or if our budget allows us to go out and acquire some new ones for that stock. But we do have that one. Let's see, and then we have an over income lease to own, which is basically designed similar to the low income one. However, that one is just all based on the appraised value of the home. So if somebody wants to go into that program, they do have to be income eligible, which basically they're over the low income limits.
No, but that's one of your units, right?
Right. It'll come through our program.
Okay,
So
so
it's
you-
almost instead of going to a mortgage company and going and find, we offer what we have if they're interested in doing a lease to own.
If they were over income.
Right. So there's those two programs, and like I said, it's all just based off their income. And then we have down payment assistance, which basically now we call it mortgage assistance.
Mortgage assistance.
And
And that's
another-
probably what it sounds like.
Right. And it's a new policy. It's a new program that we've kind of changed up. The boards allow us to kind of offer some other options in that program. So it also has the ability to do refinancing. So if somebody wants to come in, and it is limited to just enrolled AST members.
Okay, right.
It isn't open to other tribes to be served.
So what about the units, though? Does that just your units, or could they find
so the
a
mortgage
house?
assistance, the mortgage assistance program, you get to go out and find your own.
Okay, you could find
Find
your
your
own.
Right, it's a
lending.
privately owned.
Find
yes.
your own
Right.
Find
lender.
Find your own
So you're
home.
just helping with the down payment,
Yeah, correct.
basically.
Correct.
I mean, you'd
down
have
payment,
to go.
closing cost, or the,
Yeah,
or
anything.
the refinancing.
So they've recently changed that. The policy did increase. Typically, it was just a $5,000 offer to help with that. Now it's up to $15,000.
Wow,
so
that's
it's
substantial.
a really
I
good
mean,
benefit. For
Now,
a
is that
travel
one time?
One time. Yes.
One time.
Yes.
So if you did this and you got a house, say 10 years down the road, something happened, you lost your house or whatever, you could only do that one time.
Right.
Right.
Right. There's a little
Okay.
bit of kinks in the policy, but
You couldn't
I don't
just
have it in
hop
front of me. But I
around.
mean, there is some things with like divorce and situations.
Right.
Sometimes we
Yes.
work with tribal members that may have been assisted prior, but it's always good to come in and kind of ask us, and we'll kind of have
Yeah.
to do some research and see what we can do to help you out. So we try to at least give you the best answer we can. If we can't, maybe there's some other resources.
But
when
you
it
would
comes
have to
those
be
situations.
approved with a lender.
Yes, we do
You have to
ask.
just-
That's what I was
you have
going to
to-
ask.
yeah.
You
Right.
couldn't
You have to
be-
secure your own
You have to
lending.
secure your
Yeah.
own
And you can
funding.
purchase anywhere in the state of Oklahoma.
Right.
Okay,
that is
not just
offered.
your 4 counties. So
Yeah.
you
No,
could live
anywhere.
anywhere in
Right.
the state.
Right. Correct.
As long as you're credit, you get that loan,
Right.
and then
Yeah. As long as that lender's gonna
Willing
approve
to-
you, and
Right.
yes, you can get that assistance from
or
us.
refinancing,
Or refinance.
and that's anything in the state.
right.
Even if
Correct,
you didn't go through the tribe initially
correct.
for any kind of assistance,
Right.
so you can
Correct.
refinance if you wanted to.
Right. Right. And there's no income requirements
nothing
on that one
income.
either. So.
As long as you're able to refinance your house, then I guess. If
And you're a tribal member.
and you're a tribal member. That's right. We need to make sure we say that.
Yeah.
This is just for ASTs because
Right.
that's a nice chunk of change.
Right. It is.
15,000.
It is.
Okay, so we've done mortgage assistance, over income, lease to own.
Mm.
What about the college housing assistance? I don't feel like we talk about that enough.
Not enough. I don't. But I know it's used a lot.
Well,
I know it's for Kim can carb.
Let's talk about that.
That's her baby.
We have 2 college housing assistance programs. One is for all federally recognized tribal members. However, that one, that program, you have to reside in the 4 counties that we serve, which is Potawatomi, Oklahoma, Cleveland, and Lincoln. And you have to be a full-time student, which means you carry a 12 credit per semester for undergraduate, 9 for a graduate student, and have to pass with at least a 2.0 grade point average. And we pay $300 monthly
We have to help with
For
their
the
rent.
rent.
For their
Right.
monthly
For-
rent. Right.
for both
Right.
the spring and fall semesters.
And that's for any native.
That's open to all tribes.
All
Okay.
tribes,
It is.
So
federally
anyone.
recognized.
And it is income
tribal
based.
members,
That one
yes.
is.
so I was going to
under the
ask
federal
you, is that
program.
income
Right,
based?
so
Now,
that-
what about just ASTs
The
going to
AST one
college?
is unique. Yeah.
Yes, we do have a separate one for AST members only. That one is served throughout the whole state of Oklahoma. It's primarily the same. A full-time student has to carry the 12
Yeah.
credit
Just
hours
the
per-
uniqueness is
Yes.
that we can serve all our tribe outside of just our jurisdiction.
Right.
areas
Okay,
that
so as
we
long as
have.
you're going to college. Now, what about age? What if you're an older person and you're going back to school? It's
There's not an age requirement.
There's
as
no
long as
age
you're
requirement.
18,
Okay.
18 years or older.
18 or older is
18
the
or
only-
older,
So if you
right.
decided you wanted to go
Age.
back to school, and as
Right.
long as you met all the
Right, and
requirements,
you're out renting, and you need
You would
some
pay
help.
for
right,
rent.
right,
Mhm.
yeah, that would
Okay.
be available to you.
$300 monthly.
Right,
so if you're going to school, say you wanted to go 8 years, you would.
Yeah.
Is there a cap? I mean, as far as
Ooh,
timing,
that might be.
Yes,
That might have a.
there is. It's a four
I think
year.
it's
4
a 4
years.
year
cap,
max. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So if you were going to
8
school
semesters.
for 5,
8
okay.
8 semesters.
So if you
yes.
pick something where you've got 6 years, maybe some grad school, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
cover the 4
Right.
as far as the rent.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But that's
Uh,
good to know. I feel like
yeah,
a
and
lot
I-
of people
and-
may not know that.
Right. And we do have some steady ones, right, that stay and
Yes.
get served. They just come and read.
Throughout-
You can get served what they'll just update their file, and if as long as they're still in school, I mean.
So
it's
could
not
you go
too
back?
hard.
Say you went for 2 years and you stopped and you're like, you know what? I think I'm going to go back to school.
I think
Could you go back,
Yeah,
probably? I
just as
guess.
long as
There's anything in
everything
the
you have
policy
all
that
the
states you can.
right. I think you just
Yeah.
have to have resubmit your file. Right.
reapply, and if you meet the
Yes.
requirements as far as
Right.
hours, and
Right.
so that's not income based though. Or is
The
that?
one for ASTs
Is not.
No.
but
Okay.
the regular one is
Yes.
income
Yes.
based.
Okay,
So, yeah.
but it definitely would help out with rent. That's
Yes.
that's
Certainly.
substantial. I mean,
Right.
especially everything is so expensive.
Right. Especially for
Yes.
students, you know, they don't
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
They're having a hard time. The classes and everything else.
You
so
got
they'll
to think
have to do
about
it.
make
All that added pressure.
Right.
pay
It's nice
rent.
to have a little
Yeah.
relief there.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay, so what about something else that we didn't hit? Supportive housing program. What is
Supportive
that?
housing is kind of its unique little animal there for our program. It's basically a program that helps families that are in situations where they need to get into more of a quicker housing. Domestic violence cases, homelessness, different situations like that. They come in and we only have so many of them, so that's only the challenge, is that if we're full, we may not be able to assist. But a lot of times when they come in, they have to do an intake. We have to kind of find out that they meet the criteria if we're going to be able to help them by getting them in housing. Sometimes it may be a need for them to go through some kind of other agency
Okay.
if there's some addiction issues or something that may not be as helpful for us to be able to help them through their process. So, but if they're, needing to get in, a lot of the times we work with a lot of agencies that send them our way. The domestic violence program,
Right.
Indian child welfare. There's different situations where they'll kind of do some referrals to kind of let us know, hey, this family needs in, and we'll kind of do the intake, and we'll try to get them in something that's available. So, but it right now it's a 6-month period on their lease. So we're during that time we're doing monthly assessments and kind of checking on them. Kim can kind of talk on that if she wants to, but there's a lot of more. What do I say, hand holding in that one,
Yeah.
because we're checking on
You're
them
checking
and
on
seeing,
them, right.
seeing how things are going, because we're trying to get them into permanent housing.
Okay, so that's your goal.
That's the main
That's the
goal,
goal.
is to get secure permanent housing.
Right.
So like the monthly, the assessments kind of consist of reviewing budgets, creating goals, and timeframes to meet those goals, and just things
Making
like
sure
that.
they have a job and they're
Right,
going to their
right.
job,
Going to
paying
the
their
job.
bills,
Getting there is a
Oh,
challenge for
yeah.
getting
some.
there, transportation.
Right.
Offering
You're right.
them, finding them resources for whatever their barriers may be.
Right.
So, yes.
Yeah, and I think what 90% of the people that come our way for that program are usually homeless
Right.
cases,
Right.
where they're either couch surfing and they're just struggling to get into
Trying to find a
somewhere.
permit.
Right. So sometimes they may have exhausted all their options.
Yeah.
And so as long as they come in, we still run background and we still run screens on them and everything to make sure they're going to be okay to get into our program. So we usually will try to help them through.
And I do work with the with that program also. Once they come in, we try to get them to do a rental application, and we kind of, so they're not having to do another background check or anything. We just kind of compile the information so they can just come
One and
in,
done.
get
Right.
it done, and try to get them on the list.
Yeah, because usually those applicants, they're going to need to get one of the other programs too.
Right.
So
Yes.
we just try to do it all
At one time.
Right.
I mean, that
right.
makes sense. And you said that's like a 6-month.
Yeah, that's the cap of
6
it.
months.
Sometimes we'll work with them and allow them to extend a little longer if they're doing well and maybe they're on a list and
Yeah.
it's just so long they can't get, or they're trying to save up
Right.
and they're trying to pay some debt off and then save up. It may take a longer time. So sometimes we'll work with them. It really just depends on case by case.
Everybody's situation is
Right.
different.
Based on their
Right.
progress. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, that's probably, aside from the low rent, that's probably one of my other really, really popular programs
Really?
where we're always having people come in.
Sadly.
So, yes.
But you're able to
yes.
help them.
And we're the only ones in this area. I don't think there's anybody else that has that
a
program.
program.
So we're kind
So
of.
that's probably why you're so inundated.
Yes.
We get a lot of
You probably
referrals.
get a lot.
Right,
They're all
right.
like, go see them, go
You're
see
right.
them. Wow.
That's
Okay.
true.
So you don't have a lot of units as far dedicated for that.
No, because
sadly.
it is, budget wise, it is a lot more expensive program because we're not making them pay utilities or we're not the rent's really
Pretty
really
low.
low
Yes.
just to help them out. So like I said, and it's kind of one of those things where they don't really have a lot at that time. It's at the ones that we're trying to build up. That's probably the lowest ones we're trying to get through. So,
but you're helping them.
Yes,
So, and that's the end game. I mean,
right,
that's
exactly. Good. Yeah,
that's the goal.
That's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
What about tiny homes?
Tiny homes.
I know you've got some of those.
We do have a program out there available for that program, and it is offered to anyone that's tribal.
Not just AST.
We do preference to AST.
Right, of course.
However, the challenge is you have to own the land where the tiny home is going to be placed.
Okay.
And or some people may have they have trust land or they have family land that they want to put that on. Sometimes they may not have utilities set up, or they may not have the infrastructure to put that tiny home on. So I know, I think that's been our biggest problem is people will come in and apply, and sometimes they'll be approved. I think there's been two scenarios that I mean, we've had it for 3 years, maybe somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's about that time.
But it seems like we kind of run into issues like that. No,
okay.
So, but it's still there. If
it's still there. If anyone's looking for a tiny
really
home,
has the ability to do that, that it is a good program because you can actually get that placed on your own land.
So you don't rent them. You help with building, like new construction, right?
Yeah, we build it on the property. It is a lease to own. You do go through a lease to own process.
Okay,
with
so you still have a payment. You're not just building a house for free.
Right. It's not okay. Bye.
Here's your tiny home. You would still have to pay.
Right. Well, you'll have to pay back. I think the cap that we had said is $200,000 is the cap that will actually do.
That seems like a lot for a tiny home.
Right. Tiny homes
are they expensive?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We've only been through one.
That seems like
to actually
lot.
build it. It's a little different as
you
opposed
could buy
to getting
a house
them
for $200,000.
Yes. Right. Exactly.
I'd like to see this tiny home.
But that's
really
the cap.
Nice,
that's the cap.
That's the cap.
I mean,
okay.
it might be less than that depending on. We have designed our own house plans to show individuals if they're interested and they're accepted into the program. We'll kind of show them which one they want.
Oh, so could you bring your own plans maybe?
The way we structured it was primarily, but that's kind of a
if
discussion I might have to have on my board if we want to change that.
I don't want a tiny home, but I'm just saying, but
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean,
plans. There's like I said, there's not a big response on that program. So, it may be something we may bring to the table and see if we want to make some changes that maybe there's some barriers there that the biggest one I'm seeing is that people just have a hard time getting it set up for us to come out and
infrastructure wise,
right? Like utilities, they have to have all that kind of stuff set up.
So you don't help with that.
No, we just bring. It's just to build the tiny home.
Okay.
So that's what the hiccup probably is going.
Get their water hooked
all
up,
that all that.
Exactly.
Some they may not have.
They may not be ready for.
Okay. Unless they had all that, they just want to put something in the.
Right. But it isn't an income-based program, so
it's not.
No, I think.
Okay.
I think you can be over income for that one.
It's not just for elder. This is not anything for age.
We give preference to elders, but it's for everyone.
Okay. So anybody could have a tiny home if they wanted.
We do have one in Shawnee that we built just as a sample. So if anybody ever wants to call and ask where that one's located, just to kind of see what it looks like.
So where's it at? If someone's listening,
it's
I'm gonna drive by and see that.
If anybody knows in Shawnee, Rolling Hills Addition, it's just right across the street from there.
So it's like your model home,
right? It's on Main. It was at Main and Bryan in Shawney.
Does anyone live there? Is
it somebody? We haven't rented out.
Oh, okay.
So
but you could drive by. Like, don't go knock on the door.
Don't ask to go in.
I want to come in and check this out. Probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the one that is. If they wanted to look at it.
That's one we built just because we wanted to see how the plan, and that's kind of how we know how much it costs to build it.
And I'm assuming they like it. So
it's a little more roomier than you would think.
It's 1,000 square feet,
Yeah.
so it's like a little house.
Yes, a little house.
Cute little decking around it.
Yeah.
It's a nice little
It's
little
nice.
house.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's for
really
a tiny
nice.
home. That's not too tiny for a tiny home.
No, it's not. Yeah,
I
like
mean,
the typical ones that are like
300 square feet.
Yeah,
maybe,
100, 300. Yeah, it's
really
a little bit bigger than that.
Okay, so you could have 2 people living there.
Yeah,
maybe.
definitely.
I mean,
Right.
Okay, so if you want to drive by, don't knock on the door.
Yes.
Just drive by.
It's not made for a family of 6 or 8.
Right. I think we have a max on that.
We have a max.
I think it's 4. I think it's
okay. That'd still be kind of tight, but I mean, I guess you could get 4 people in there. Maybe
if you had to.
You'd be really close.
Right.
Certainly be
okay. Yeah. So tiny homes, we hit on that. Something I wanted to touch on, and I feel like a lot of people may reach out to this home rehab
Mm-hmm.
assistance program. Do you have a lot of people do that?
Right. It is pretty popular,
pretty popular.
and it's
Yes.
just to offered to our enrolled AST members. It's 15,000 is the max. It basically does any kind of services that are needed for the home to get it back into standards, safe and sanitary condition. It could
Yes.
be roof, plumbing, electrical, all that good stuff that needs to be in good shape for your
For you to
homes,
live,
to
not
be able
just,
to live.
I want you to redo
Yeah,
my floor. I want hardwood flooring.
or
or
paint my house. Yeah,
Right.
those things are
not
more
that. Cosmetic.
It's not cosmetic.
This is
correct.
actual, we need you up to standards
Right,
for your home
right.
cleanliness.
So,
Okay.
typically, when they apply, there's a whole process where our inspector will go out, we'll take a look at it, and kind of determine what is the major needs. A lot of the times, we look at the costly things too. If the roof is a big expense,
Yeah.
so
That would
sometimes-
eat up your 15,000, I would
Right.
think,
Yeah.
right there.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
HVACs, sometimes things like that.
That
If
stuff
there's
adds
any
up.
structural foundation issues, they'll try to tackle those as well. So it really just depends on that, but the budget and where we can.
Is
where
that
we
a
can-
one-time thing?
It
or-
is. It is
okay.
a one time because we do put those binding agreements on basically till the funds are replenished back.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they're typically, if it's 15,000, I believe you have to do that binding agreement. It's kind of like a lien for is it 10 years? I might be saying that wrong, but it just depends on the funding
5?
that you use.
5 or 10.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there. Till you don't have to pay back the funds. The reason why they put the lien is just if you decide to sell it after
Oh,
the
that
funds have
makes
been
sense.
put in from the housing. We just have to get that money back, and it's prorated out for that time.
So if you
frame.
stayed in your home for 30 more years, then it
just goes away.
It goes
It's
away.
released.
But if you thought, I'm going to sell my house.
Yeah,
and
now
let
that
me
there's
get this
new,
fixed,
new
then
roof
the
and everything, let me try to sell it.
I mean,
Yeah, we'd have to. Unfortunately.
Okay, well that makes sense because
Right.
someone might be thinking, "Hey, new roof," or
Yeah,
like you said,
I'm gonna-
HVAC.
things you didn't want to mess with.
No, before you sell your house. But you're not going to do cosmetic things
Right,
like
right,
new
right.
flooring or
Yes.
anything
Right.
like that. It's actually
We do handicap accessibility, so that's
Yes.
somewhat of a,
Yes.
but that's more if the need for handicap accessibility,
Right.
like bathrooms and railing and things
So I'm
like
assuming
that.
elders would get preference,
Yes,
probably.
yes, we typically do preference for elders.
Okay,
so,
as you should.
yes.
So yes, okay. There was another program that I want to mention. Storm season is
Right.
here.
Yes,
You've got a storm shelter program.
correct.
That's probably pretty popular.
Yes, and
Very.
and
It's that time of year.
It's already almost
It's
gone.
so
And that
sad.
program,
Yeah.
yes, it just
goes quick.
all of a sudden all
It's
the
gone.
applications came in.
Oh, wow.
We're trying to see how many more we can try to serve, or hopefully I can see if we can get some more funds in there. But right now it looks like we're almost to the
You're almost
exhaust
done?
of every. Yes,
We're not
that's how
even
quick.
out of storm season yet. Wow.
So
Okay, so if someone maybe next year
Yes.
wants to take advantage of that, what does that entail though? As far as what would you pay for?
so the max is $8,000. So they'll go out and do. They let you pick like which
Yes.
one. It's
what
up
kind
to you.
of shelter?
Which
Oh,
would
okay.
you want, whether it's an in-ground, above ground, I
All
don't
that.
know.
Because
all
an
the
You're
other
not
ones.
forced to take like you just get
No,
this
we're not
one.
saying
Yeah, an
this is all we
elder,
can
it's
do.
going to
Right.
be hard for them to go underground.
Right. So, you can make it easy for them.
Make it easy.
Yeah.
Accommodate them.
So
Yeah.
it all depends too. Like it depends on the type of house they have.
Yeah.
Maybe they can't put one in their garage, and it's just that's kind of all the discussions that will happen
Okay.
before we actually start the bid process to get somebody out there to install it.
Does it
So-
matter as far as where you live? Does it have to be tribal? Is it just like
just AST only?
AST
again.
only?
So and it's statewide.
okay?
Yeah.
So as long as you'd have to own your home, I'm assuming.
You just have to be the homeowner.
You wouldn't want to put it
Bring
on
the deed in.
Yeah.
Okay, I was
just make
gonna
sure we
say,
see your deed
You
and
wouldn't
know
want it
you
if
own-
someone was renting from
Right,
an individual.
correct.
You wouldn't
Right.
want to put it on. But if they own their
Yes.
own home, it's not income based, right?
No income-based
No.
requirements or anything. So
Okay.
that's
so,
pretty. Like I said, it's popular.
Yes.
I'm sure
I-
we'll have it around for.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
A while
hopefully,
now.
especially with storms here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not income. Elders get preference, probably.
Right.
Did we hit
I
that?
believe we
Yes.
do have preference for elders.
So what if you get one? 5 years from now, you sell your house, you move. Is it just a one-time thing, or would you be able to get another one
Another
if you
storm
own your
shelter?
house? Right.
I believe. I want to say the policy might require us to only serve you once for
Okay.
the storm shelter.
So don't sound.
Yeah. So
Okay. I mean, so you would get one, but 8,000. That's
right,
pretty good amount.
right. Yeah.
Well, they're not cheap. Nothing's cheap.
No,
so.
not this day.
Nothing is cheap. So, okay. So I feel like we've hit almost. Have we hit all your programs? I feel like maybe we didn't
For
miss
the
anything.
most
I
part,
feel like
we just have a lot of the resident services activities, and I don't know if we were going to talk any.
we
on
can. Is that the
Um,
Ross program?
The Ross.
Is that
Yes.
Ross?
It's kind of all.
We're not talking about the store. What is Ross?
Yeah.
I always think, when I hear it, when they're like Ross, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Ross?
So yeah, Ross stands for Resident Opportunity for Self-Sufficiency. Self-sufficiency.
So
I
what-
said that weird. But
So what is the Ross program?
so basically, we developed it probably through 2022, and it's a grant that you can apply through HUD that allows you to hire a coordinator on staff, and that coordinator basically goes out and determines and assesses the need of our community as far as our residents. And when we did one in 2022, there was a lot of need for financial literacy. Maybe they didn't understand, technology. I think technology was another one.
Technology or digital.
Financial. So they find out the needs of the community. And so that coordinator basically develops activities,
Classes. I know you have
classes,
classes.
Yes.
develops connections with people in the community to help with any of those needs. So it's kind of like a partnership, and also it kind of helps those people come into those classes and learn the things that maybe they're struggling with. So,
Okay, because I know you partnered with the All Nations Bank.
yeah,
Give
the
them
All
a
Nations
plug.
Bank, yes.
Some financial literacy classes.
Right. And I
think.
believe some we did some with partnerships with the education. I think they came and did some classes for our youth.
Correct.
I believe there was some
Yeah.
stuff.
Young adult
Yeah,
workshop.
Young
there were some
adult.
We just
workshops
had
they
one back
did.
in March.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So those were some good ones that they put on.
We usually do those once a year.
Right.
Or we have in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Since,
And there's a lot of outreach events we do, like Community Renewal of Pot County. We have a really good partnership with them because they do a lot of after school programs for the kids and some of the school systems in Shawnee. And so there's a lot of outreach that they do. They do tutoring, a lot of things like that. So we have a lot of partnerships with them. There's some gardening I think we get into, and there's all kinds of
So all kinds of
different-
classes.
whatever, yeah,
Right.
things that help with I know the elders do a lot of activities. I think today
Cooking
there was a
classes?
bingo,
We do.
wasn't there? Cooking
Yes.
classes.
Cooking, I
Cooking
know.
classes,
Yeah.
bingo.
Okay.
We've done some maintenance
Yeah.
shop workshops.
And
Right.
flowers,
Flowers
bouquets,
and
yeah.
things like that.
So
Yeah,
anything
different-
just to kind of connect the community
Right,
and kind of
right.
help them build relationships among each other. And I mean, there's just so many things that we try to do. Health and wellness is another one that was
Yes.
in that
Mm-hmm.
grant. So it is a grant.
Not a store.
Yeah, it's not the Ross store.
not the
it's
Ross
a
store.
grant that we were awarded. So we did try to apply for it again this year. So hopefully we'll get some
Hopefully
good
you'll get
news and we
funded.
can keep that program going.
Keep your
So
classes going.
right. So
Okay, I feel like we've hit a lot of your programs.
Mm-hmm.
Anything we didn't hit on? Anything you want to mention? Maybe we forgot. I mean, I feel like there's a lot that you do.
Some of the things that we have built close to mostly all of our communities is our community buildings.
Uh-huh.
A lot of our units are small, and so maybe they want to have a big gathering together. And a lot of them here lately have been pretty popular. They've been renting them quite a bit. We have one in the Rolling Hills edition, the Elder edition. That one's used quite a bit. We have one in McLeod. In the Bob White edition is used quite a bit. And then we have one out in the Lilacs area, the big White House.
I was going to say, can we
that
got to say the
everybody
White House?
wants
That's,
to know.
or the governor's mansion.
Yes,
Sorry,
that's
Governor.
what the governor calls it, the governor's
Yes,
mansion. So.
but that's not his mansion. He doesn't
No.
live there. He does not live there.
Right.
So that is also available.
That is
to rent.
available. I mean, we've had,
but not to rent as in live in.
They can
You could
rent
use
it
it
to
for an
have an
event.
event.
Okay.
For an
Yeah, it's a
event.
I don't want
community
people
event.
thinking
Right, it's not. You can't. Yeah,
you can't live
there's no
there.
application for that one.
Sorry, Governor, if you're listening. That's not your house.
Right.
But if you wanted a baby shower, a birthday party,
we've had so many wonderful
Wedding
events.
receptions.
That would be-
There was a wedding out there. There was birthday parties. There's been tons of
events
that
at the
Fam-
White
like-
House.
yes,
I love
Family
that.
reunions. It'd be
family
great for that.
reunions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
AST probably get preference on that.
they can get
They
preference.
can?
Yeah,
Okay. Probably
definitely.
not a very, probably a cheaper fee, nominal fee.
Yeah, correct.
To
correct.
rent that
There's, all the applications are available, and that's you can also find those on our website as well. So
Okay.
I know
Yeah.
we haven't talked about that, but
Well, everything I was going to close with,
Right.
everything we've talked about. If anyone wants information, all the applications are on your website.
correct.
The guidelines, eligibility.
Yes, we try to update
It's all there.
Yeah,
Phone
the policies
numbers.
are available. The
I did look
applications.
before we left. And if someone didn't know, it's ashousingauthority.com.
Correct.
Yes.
Or they can call 273-1050.
Yes.
Or they could go see you in person.
Yes. Yes.
105
107
107
North
North Kimberly. I was thinking
Yes.
105. I was close. Okay.
You're close.
Don't go to 105. They can go see you in person
Yes.
if they wanted to fill out an application, hear about anything, drive by the tiny home.
Right.
Don't
Check
stop.
out that tiny home if you want. Just don't
Right.
don't bother me.
Okay, so I feel like we just kind of covered a lot of information, but like you said, everything is on your website.
Right. Right.
Yes.
So
And I just like to encourage, tribal members, if don't get discouraged by the wait list. Go ahead and apply. If you find a place to live now, you don't know in a year or so where you'll be, and at least you're on the list.
you're on the
You're
list.
on the list.
Right, because
So-
circumstances change.
Circumstances
Right.
change, and we may give you a call and say, "Hey,
We found something.
we have something," and
And prepare those younger generations too, because
Yeah.
we want to make sure they have this housing program. So if they're ready,
I mean, that's why it's here.
Yes,
That's your
we
whole
wanna make
mission
sure,
statement. That's why
right.
you're here.
We're always trying to grow, expand, and offer all as many services as we can with housing. So definitely. So
Well, hopefully we explained a lot of things
Right.
today. Hopefully someone learned something.
I hope so.
And as we close today, I want to say when we're talking about housing, we're really talking about home. That's what this is
Yes.
about. Safety, stability, belonging.
right.
For many people, home isn't guaranteed. And so it's temporary or it's out of reach. So I want to thank you for being here today and thank you for the work that you do to help them find their home.
Thank you for having us.
thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thank you for listening. I'm Mindy Longhorn. We hope you join us next time as we talk Among the Shawnee.
Nyawe, ye si hakaweta wiani. Salanoki kenole poa.